Alright, so baseball offseason is here, which blows because there's going to be no games for 3 or 4 months, but what?
What is going on with your hair right now?
What?
You rocking a comb over?
It's not a comb over.
No, it's a comb over.
I have no product in it. So there's no raise to it. And I have to go get a haircut. It's not a comb.
Put a hat on. Dude, what
It's
is that?
fine.
You're lucky the camera can't see the other side.
Are we going to start the show or not?
Oh, the show's already on. Dude, what the...
Dude, turn. Why are you not in a chair?
Because your Highness has the other chair.
Okay. Turn it on its side so that you're not 6 inches higher than me. You are. Turn it to the lower thing. There. Now we're even.
Now I'm shorter than
No,
you.
you're not. We're even.
Damn, I'm big.
Alright, so as I was
Are
saying...
you really gonna let my arm just body your arm every
Bro,
time we do this
let's
podcast?
get to the show. Jesus, people don't give a fuck.
Alright. Excuse me.
You're welcome. Alright. We're in the off-season. There's some big names.
Dude, your arms aren't even filling out the sleeves.
Jesus, bro!
Okay.
We're in the off-season for the 4th time. There's some big names that are free agents. But the biggest closer came off the board within hours after free agency was eligible and players were allowed to start meeting with teams. So Edwin Diaz of the Mets inked the biggest contract for a relief pitcher at 5 years, $102 million. It was a $12 million signing bonus, which is a record. And like I said, it came just hours after free agency started, when he could have started meeting with other teams. And let me read you his stats from 2022. It was, so he went 3-1 in 61 games, had a 1.31 ERA, 32 saves, 62 innings pitched, 118 strikeouts. His WHIP was .84, and his K per 9 was over 17, which I believe is the second highest of all time behind, I think, 1 year oldest at 18 per 9. So he was without a doubt the best closer in the league this year. But he did have a couple, I know 2019 I think it was, where he was horrible. It was the year he was traded to the Mets, 18 or 19, whatever. I think it was the year after he was traded to them. He was horrible. Then he the next year he only appeared in half the amount of games. So I'm guessing he was hurt, but I don't remember. And then last year he did decent, but then this year he was elite.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, this is the biggest deal, and it caps what Aroldis Chapman had as the biggest deal, which was 5 year, $86 million. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, are you surprised that a deal was made so quick?
No, I don't think I'm surprised. Look, when you look at the owner of the Mets, Jesus, it's Steve Cohen, right? I mean, he's been known to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think that is money well spent, to be honest.
Really?
If you look at Edwin Diaz's career numbers, I'm just going to read you off what I have here from 2016, all right? I'm just going to read you.
By the way, if you type in Edwin Diaz's stats and click on the ESPN thing, like, it'll bring up all his years. But
Okay, well, I'm just going to bring up, starting from 2016, okay?
All right.
On the Mariners. 2.79 ERA. It's all right.
Right, yeah. I think he's a career 2.93, I think, right?
Yeah. 2017, a 3.21 ERA. And then 2018, he had a really good year, 1.96. Followed that up with a 5.59.
Yeah, that was the year that he was a disaster.
Yeah. And then 2020, only 6 saves, 1.75 ERA, only 6 saves.
So do you remember? I don't. Was he hurt? Oh wait, no, that was the year that they only played half the season. That's why. Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah. 2020, a 3.45 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year. So he hasn't been consistent. So I think when Steve Cohen offers Edwin Diaz that money, he's like, yeah, because I think that was the best deal he was going to get.
But he was expected to break the record for
Mm-hmm.
money. So
Well, when you're in a large market team, right? You're in a large market. I mean, his walkout was being televised every
right,
night,
yeah.
right? So there's so much hype behind it. I think that played a big role in it. Yes, this past year was a career year. Yes, he was very good. But I don't think he's going to keep it up. I think next year he's going to have a big downslide. I don't think he's going to be worth it. I think they're going to regret it in the long run.
Really?
Yeah.
Because so I'll go into this. Do you think a contract like this is going to change? Maybe it's going to depend on how he performs throughout the contract. But do you think that a contract like this is going to potentially like change the landscape for relievers and closing pitchers and the types of contracts that they sign? Because the starters are always getting all the huge, crazy, ludicrous deals, and they're throwing 5 to 6 times the innings. But nowadays, a starter that goes rarely do you see a starter go more than 6 innings. So the last 3 innings, you got your bullpen. And with Houston this year in the postseason, having weapons in your bullpen showed that it can be like one of the best advantages.
Yeah, but also look at the landscape of the position, right? When was the last time that you saw someone just be a dog their whole career? And there's a reason they come out of the pen, because they can't start, right? Everyone gets drafted. You're a starter, pretty much. Mariano Rivera, right?
Sure.
Who else? Trevor Hoffman. There's hardly any, right? And so I guess it could lay the landscape for short term.
But these guys,
large money deals,
right?
Like Trevor Bauer type 3 years, maybe an option after the first year.
So the bullpen is who's winning the games now. Like, starters are not in at the end of the game anymore. That's not today's game. So that's why I'm thinking, okay, these are the guys who are in the game at crunch time and are in high pressure situations. So I think, to me, that would warrant higher contracts and shorter terms. And I think we're kind of see that with starters too, kind of how Scherzer had that crazy, it's like 43 a year type deal, where starters are not going to be getting those 10-year, $250 million contracts or $300 million contracts, because there's such a risk with pitchers that I think on both relievers and starters that you'll start seeing like 3 to maybe 6-year contracts at a max.
Yeah, with higher guarantee.
With not higher guarantee, higher annual.
Right.
Or because it's all guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, I think the first person he saw do that was Bauer, and then immediately Scherzer.
Right.
So, especially for the older players, right? It's kind of opening the door for people who are still like at the end of their prime, still getting their payday. But again, I don't think the Mets are going to be happy with.
Do you think another reason why they closed this deal so quick is because they have multiple guys in their pen who are free agents, so they wanted to lock down their top guy and make sure they had their best guy come back, and then kind of because when you're working at signing bullpen guys, you want to kind of work from the back to the front. You want to get the guys that are going to be in on the line, the closing guys, and then kind of work your way up that way. So do you think it was maybe they signed him so quick because they're going to lose potentially a few guys to free agency?
Yeah, I mean,
because I'll read you
guaranteed.
The guys that they have in free agency, they're leaving as Ottavino, Lugo, Trevor May, Joely Rodriguez, and Tommy Hunter. So that's half their bullpen basically right there.
Dude, Tommy Hunter's still in the league.
I didn't even know he was. I didn't even know he was.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look, it's never guaranteed that you're going to be able to lock up everyone that's on free agency. But what I'm more concerned about is how much money is he willing to spend on the few guys that they're looking to get, right? They're trying to retain DeGrom.
Right.
So how much money is that going to cost them? If they're spending so much money on a couple guys, then they may have some holes in their bullpen that they're going to have to shore up at the trade deadline next year.
Okay, so we'll start talking about some of the other teams and just the rest of the relievers throughout the league. But do you think teams will be calling the Astros trying to trade for guys in their pen?
Yeah, I don't think the Astros are going to do it. I mean, they got a formula worked out, right? They got a solid offense. It's not record breaking. It's not league leading, but they have an offense that puts up runs, and they have a bullpen that shuts you down. So it's their formula has been winning them championships. Look, the Astros got help from a couple career years this year. They had Miguel Montero, who stepped up, had a career year.
And now he's a free agent.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a big player, I think, in the market.
Yeah, but I see him getting like a 3 or 4 year.
I don't think is he a really young guy?
Yeah, he's pretty young.
Okay, he's not going to get a really big of a contract, but I think, I mean, he can definitely shore up someone's bullpen, and I think he'll probably. Do you think he'll go into someone will sign him wanting him to be the closer?
Potentially, yeah. I could definitely see a team like the Rangers or someone that has serious bullpen issues looking for him to be the guy. And whether or not he makes that step is up to him. But he had the stats this year that shows that he can be a formidable arm for sure. So, I don't think I see the Astros moving very many pieces.
Now, so Edwin Diaz, he's the biggest closer that's off the board, and Kenley Jansen is considered the next top closer that's on the market, and he had an NL leading 41 saves, but you see you shaking your head. He blew 7 saves. He had a 3.38 ERA, which is not great. He's 35. He's on the. I know you've never really liked him.
Let's see if I can get his stance down.
Oh. Twerk, baby.
You need a neck brace for the home runs that motherfucker gets up. Catch shit.
He had one good year with the Dodgers, and when even was that? Was that like I can't remember how long ago that was. So okay, so where do you think he ends up?
I don't know.
I know where you would put him if it was your choice.
Oh my gosh, man. Bro, I hate to be pessimistic, but what if the Rangers...
I hope to God the Rangers
The
do not
Rangers
take
signed
really
so many terrible arms, dude.
Yeah.
Let's sign John Gray, who's hurt every other day.
You're right.
I don't know, man. I actually do, though. I see someone that's upcoming contenders. Orioles, Rangers, maybe even the Mariners, and have him in there as the 8th inning guy. Add him in that bullpen.
So some of the teams that, like, I'm looking at this article right here. It says they're looking for a closer. Twins, Rangers, Orioles, D-backs, Cubs, Marlins, Tigers. Those are some of the main teams looking for closers.
I could see him on the Tigers as well. That giant-ass ballpark up on Mount. I'm not too familiar on what teams are looking for him.
Okay. How about, what do you think of the Reds' Alexis Diaz, Edwin Diaz's brother? This was his rookie year, I believe, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and
he's electric.
I mean, do you think, to me, he seems like a guy that teams would trade for. I don't know if the Reds are not really close to competing, and they're a dumpster fire, but I don't know if they'd want to hold on to a guy who's a rookie, hold on to him for potentially being in the future, if they just deal him right now, if they got an offer for him.
Yeah, the formula for the Reds seems to be hold on to young guys until they do well and then trade them.
Yeah.
I don't think... I mean, he's young and he's electric, but he's still pretty raw. He needs to work on his command a little bit. But I could definitely see him being a trade deadline piece next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to a contender.
So not as much in the offseason, but... See, that's the thing, too, with relievers, especially closers. There's not usually moves in the offseason. There's very few. It's usually more mid-season and towards the deadline when you realize, all right, this is who the teams... When the teams realize who they are and what they need, it's not as easy to tell during the offseason.
Yes.
Okay, what do you think about Mark Melancon? The guy's at the back end of his career. I think he's still... He's still a solid pitcher. Now, he had a 4.66 ERA this past year, which is not great. But do you think he can still provide value to a team?
Oh, he can absolutely provide value. I would see him as a 6th or 7th inning guy, first guy out of the pen.
I got you.
He doesn't have the jump that he has anymore. His cutter used to be incredibly sharp, and now it's I don't feel like it's the same. But I see him going. I mean, you're always looking for veterans
Sure.
that can add value, but I don't think he has the kind of value anymore that teams are willing to trade for him. I think he may sign like a league minimum deal.
Well, I think he's still on contract for $8 million this next year.
Is he really?
I believe. He's got one more year. I think it was a 2-year deal he signed with the D-backs for 14. I think he got 6 the first year and 8 this next year is what I believe. Okay, I'm gonna mention a few. All right, we already mentioned Rafael Montero, but I'll mention a couple more that people probably kind of forget about. But Michael Fulmer and Robert Suarez. What do you see about those guys potentially? Are they going to be wanted? Well, they're going to be wanted, but how highly sought after do you think they'll be, and by potentially what teams you think?
Dude, Robert Suarez is him, man. He has some serious break on his off speed. I feel like Robert Suarez was more of a like kind of stacking the bullpen. I don't see him being the guy in any bullpen. I see him being a part of a kind of an ensemble cast.
I gotcha.
Similar to the Mariners. The Mariners had a bunch of guys that they could have gone to in any situation. Or even the O's. The O's have a couple really young arms, and they're looking to compete next year. But I don't see him being the guy on any team that he ends up. And as far as Michael Fulmer goes, I don't know. Is he still on contract, or is he a free agent this year?
No, free agent.
Free agent this year. He was on the Tigers past year, correct?
Tigers are Twins.
Oh, they traded him, didn't they?
Yeah,
they traded him.
Twins, yeah.
Yeah, and he was starting, correct? Because he was out of the pen for a little bit.
He had 17 saves.
Oh,
it says it's 21 to 22.
Yes, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes in then.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought he was still starting.
Okay, and the Tigers have Gregory Soto.
He's not going anywhere.
You don't think?
No. No, bro. The Tigers, I mean, look, they spent money on Javier Baez.
Sure.
Wow. That did not pan out last year.
This was his second year with the Tigers? It was his first year? I don't remember. What did he hit? Do you know what he hit this past year?
Was he over 200?
I don't think it was that bad.
All I know is the slider down and away, man. Holy crap.
He's looking like when he first came into the league, he's just swinging at everything.
Yeah, and look, they're looking to spend money, and they got their new manager going on. But yeah, I don't think they're dealing Soto. I think next year, if they're just nowhere in contention, because let's not forget, 2 years ago they made a push at the end of the season, and they won the best records in baseball at the end of the 2021 season. So I don't think that they're going to be looking to move him unless they can get a haul for him at the trade deadline of a bunch of young prospects. But they still have Bradley Green coming up, a couple other young prospects. Javier Baez, he's been sucking on offense, but he's still playing great defense. So I don't see them. I see them looking to stack their starting pitching in the offseason, and then who knows, potentially go after Correa again, and then have him and Baez at the middle. Who knows? But that's another conversation, because Correa may end up, my prediction, on the Cubs.
Really? You think? Are the Cubs going to be in is their main objection this offseason trying to get a shortstop?
I mean, look, they had Nico Horner, but I think they see him more as a long-term second baseman.
I gotcha.
But the new owner of the Cubs, you're going to be hearing a lot of Cubs Correa talks. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get into all the top, so that we covered all the relievers there pretty much, and then we'll get into just the top free agents. But before that, let's talk a little bit. We'll talk more about this next week, because next week's when all the votes are for all the awards. But Ohtani versus Judge for AL MVP. I really don't know how you can't give it to Judge, but what's your thoughts and what do you potentially think?
Yeah, I mean, this is always something that I always bring up, MVP, most valuable player. No shit, it's to be the person who can do the most.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the most valuable player, you can go Shohei, because he can pitch it, he can hit. Duh, he's the most valuable.
Sure.
But it's not that, right? It's just who had the best season.
Yeah.
Shohei had a good season, and he had a much better season pitching than he did hitting, in my opinion. But with all the publicity, all the hype around Judge, you broke the record.
Yeah.
Broke the record.
Yeah.
For the 7th most home runs ever hit. He's going to win MVP. Now, I do think that was pretty much the only thing he could have done to win MVP from Shohei, but he did it, and he's going to win MVP, and that's just going to add.
Well, but I mean, he led every offensive category other than average, which he was a couple points behind.
Fold.
Yeah, well, he did in the last couple weeks. But I mean, the only reason you would give it to Shohei is because he's the dual player.
Yeah.
So I think.
But then if you're only giving it for that reason, then just call it the Shohei Ohtani Award. Give it to him every year.
Yeah.
Because
you're right. Because if you actually took it for what the name of it is, most valuable player, Shohei would get it every single year, unless he was just horrible. Because no player provides the value that he does to a team because he's 2-1.
Exactly.
So I think Judge should get it. Do you think Judge will get it?
Yeah.
You do?
He'll get it.
Do you think the fact...
Unless Stephen A. Smith is the only voter.
Let me ask you this. If, say, Judge was on the Orioles and he hit 62 bombs, do you think it would be different? I think that the fact that he's on the Yankees helps him.
Oh, 100% chance. I mean, he's in the spotlight every time they play.
Yeah.
It definitely helps him. But I think either way, when you have an offensive season that's that historic, and he plays good defense too. It's not like he's DHing as well, right?
Right.
So he's playing good defense. I think you have to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Shohei's hitting 45 home runs and hit a sub-2 ERA.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start getting into all the free agents. So we're already on the topic of Judge, so we'll start there with Judge. Actually, you know what? No, we'll touch on Ohtani first. So the Angels GM today or yesterday, but very recently, just said they're not going to trade him this offseason. He signed a 1-year, $30 million deal, I don't know how long ago, to avoid arbitration for this next year. And then after this year, I mean, it's free game. And if he hits the free agent market, it's going to be a mad dash to just see who can outbid who. And I mean, I fully expect he'll get the biggest contract ever.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least the most money per year for a position player. I don't know if he'll top 43 a year from Scherzer, because that's absurd. But do you think... Okay, let me ask you this first. Do you think the Angels... Where do the Angels have to be? Where they would deal him before the trade deadline or at the deadline, or where they would want to hold on to him?
Dude, they just have to be in contention.
Mm-hmm.
All they have to do is be a good team. If they're a good team, Shohei will want to resign with them anyways. But he had already made comments when he went back home that he didn't have good feelings about this past season.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see the Angels dealing him at the deadline if they're not in contention next season. But I don't see him being an off-season acquisition like the Angels manager or owner said.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going anywhere. If they're in contention, if they're close to the wild card race or the division race, at the deadline they're holding on to him, then they're going to trade for more pieces. But I don't see there's any way that you trade him unless you're just throwing in the towel, getting prospects, because of the backlash from the fans, right? I mean, those fans want to go watch him play. Like, how are you going to deal away a once-in-a-lifetime player? So there's no way that you can do that unless it's just rebuild time.
But I honestly think it almost doesn't matter where the team is at, because I think that even if they're in contention and they don't think that they're going to be able to re-sign him or afford him, there's no point in holding on to him, because you can get, again, you're getting a 2-for-1, so you would get more out of a trade than any other player. So I think even if say they're at the, I mean, this is hard to say, but like I think even if they say like the top of the division and they think no, he's going to go somewhere else, we're not going to re-sign him. I think like you have to look at the long term.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with baseball, like you're not like one player isn't going to make or break a team. Now Ohtani he makes a lot of money for the Angels because he just draws fans and everything. But I don't know what the Angels bank, how much money they have and their spending abilities. But I mean, when you got Trout under contract with that, and then you got Ohtani, who's probably going to be more expensive than that. I don't know how. And then if you got those, like, how can you ever get more starting pitching?
Right.
So I honestly really don't know.
Yeah, but then I mean, you also have to look at if they're trading away Shohei, they have to answer to Trout, right?
Sure.
How long is he going to put up with that kind of situation, right? Will they end up talking about dealing Trout as well? You never know.
What? So it's actually crazy that. So the Angels have the top 2 guys in MLB on their team. Now they're a West Coast team, so they play super late games for the rest of the country, so people don't see them. They don't win games, and they don't make the playoffs. So what? Honestly, I think the Angels and how. I don't want to say they've done Trout and Shohei dirty, but they're not a winning franchise. And when you have the top 2 players on your team, and they don't market well, I feel like that hurts baseball.
Oh, 100%. Dude, just be in contention.
Right.
The Orioles, for God's sakes, are in contention.
Yeah.
And they even expanded the playoffs. Just be close.
Mm-hmm.
Do something. Don't sign Noah Syndergaard. Go do something.
It's actually, like, baffling how they just can't seem to grasp in their minds that, like, dude, go get a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
I
think they have drafted because a couple drafts ago they drafted 20 pitchers.
Oh, did they really?
They drafted 20 pitchers in 20 rounds. And now, but I feel like there's something in the organization that is holding players back. Look at Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh came up, was having a terrible season. He went to the Phillies and immediately started producing. Right? They tweaked his swing a little bit. Like, who is in their development? Who's developing their players? And do they have to look at revamping how they do that?
Now, the Angels organization, I believe, is on for sale, correct?
Are they really?
I'm pretty sure I heard that this morning. So maybe if new ownership gets in there, that can right the ship. But yeah, I mean, I think it's such a disappointment to just baseball fans that
just get Trout to the playoffs.
You're essentially wasted. Dude, Trout's career, I feel like, has been wasted because the dude he's made the playoffs once and they got swept.
And he was 19 years old, 20 years old.
He came to the league in 2012 and it was 2014.
Okay, yeah. So he was 21.
Yeah,
maybe 22.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
I didn't think it was that long ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago. But yeah, it was. Okay. All right. So now let's get into Judge. Do you think? Okay. The glaring question: do you think he ends up back with New York?
No.
I think the fans alone is what's going to push him away. If another team, I feel like the Giants, if what they say is true, that they won't be outbid, that they're probably the favorite or at least the biggest contender to the Yankees. But when you got dude, New York fans fucking suck. When you hit 62 home runs and break a record like that, and then you're getting booed in the playoffs. No, yes, he did not play well in the playoffs and had a lot of Ks and had a lot of bad at-bats. But, dude, I don't care if you go 0 for 30 with 30 Ks. You just performed like that for your team and your city and your franchise. You deserve fucking respect from your fans.
Mm-hmm.
And New York fans just, I mean, they love you and then you do one thing and then they just hate you. They're so bipolar and it's just, I feel like it's such a hard environment to play in. And I think Sam told me this morning that like 15 or so, it was a crazy number of Yankees either opted out of their contract or whatever that are going to hit free agency. And I think a big part of that has to do with the fans.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can pull this up here. I don't know if I'll be able to find the list, but a massive amount of people opted out. Rizzo opted out, Zach Britton, dude, there's so many. I don't know if I'll be able to name them all if I don't have the list.
Let's see. Yankees opt out.
But yeah, I don't think there's any way Judge signs back with the Yankees.
Even if they match whatever number. Do you think he would take slightly less money to leave? Really, you do think that?
Yeah. Now look, so Judge is from San Francisco, it's from
Right,
California.
from that area.
So
yeah.
I do see them being like the number one contender, but I also don't see there's any way that I don't know, dude. I just like look. Judge is a power hitter, and he's going to San Francisco, man.
Hold on, let me read you. Here are the top teams: Yankees, Dodgers, Giants, Mets. I think Sox, Red Sox, and Cubs. Those are all the top teams that are in contention for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you name the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And apparently, Mookie can play second. So
yeah,
that's if he went there, they would move Mookie to the infield.
Mm-hmm. No, okay. I found this list here. Now, this is not an exclusive list, but this is just some of the free agents.
Okay.
All opt-outs. Okay.
Okay.
Aaron Judge, Matt Carpenter, Andrew Benintendi, Aroldis Chapman, Jameson Taillon, Marwin Gonzalez, Zach Britton, Chad Green, Miguel Castro.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All opting out.
Yeah.
Those aren't small names, right? They
Right.
traded for Andrew Benintendi at the deadline.
Right.
Which was he hurt? Because I didn't see him playing in the postseason.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know actually.
And he had an all-star season. So, yeah, look, if Judge was a savage, he would go to the Mets.
That would be crazy. Or the Sox. Either
Yeah.
or. I think that would be
He
crazy.
would go,
Well, honestly, which one do you think the Yankee fans would hate more? If he just moved across zip codes to the Mets, or if he went to their rival in the Sox? Honestly,
oh man, dude. I don't know.
are Mets
I think-
fans like? I mean, they're still in New York. Are they a lot more tame than the Yankees fans?
Yeah, they're still equally delusional.
Okay.
I think so. It was funny. Jerry Seinfeld made a comment earlier in the season. Do you remember the trumpet dude that was playing? You know Edwin Diaz's walkout song?
Yeah.
So there was some dude like Timmy Trumpets, I think was his name.
Okay.
Wearing like a top hat and sunglasses, and he was like playing his own trumpet
Okay.
like during warm-ups one day.
Yeah.
And then they brought him out and they had him play his walkout one day
Oh yeah.
during a regular season game, and then they immediately went on a massive losing streak. And Jerry Seinfeld was like, "This is what we get for celebrating mid-season. Like we haven't accomplished anything."
Yeah.
So they're definitely equally delusional, but so are most fans. Actually, that's not true because Orioles fans, Reds fans, Pirates fans, Browns
They've
fans.
just accepted it.
Yeah, they've accepted it. But yeah, I think going to the Mets would be just such a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Like, because he would always wear, I don't know if you noticed, he would always wear shirts. I think it was a brand, but it would just say New York or nowhere. And he would always wear it like to the ballpark
Oh really?
before games. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's staying.
That would
I
actually
would
be hilarious,
love
and
to
I
see
would
it.
very much like to see that.
Yeah.
Just because fuck the Yankee fans.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think his contract will top Trout's 35.5?
Sadly, yes. I don't think he's better than Trout. He had a good season. Trout hit 40 home runs and he didn't even play half this season.
Yeah.
Dude. But look, with inflation and new contracts and everyone wants to outbid
And all
the
the
other
TV
person.
deals and everything, it's just going up and up and up.
Right, everyone wants to be the next highest paid player. You
Right.
can see like random people being like, "Oh, I want to be the next highest paid."
Yeah.
And you see that in NFL all the time. I want to
Sure.
be the highest paid defensive tackle.
Yeah.
By $1 million or something like that.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Like Dak Prescott got a ridiculous deal. What the hell has he done?
Yeah.
So I do see him getting a big deal. I don't see it being for 10 years. He's already.
I didn't even realize he's going to turn 31 in April.
Yeah.
I had no idea he was that old.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's older.
I could see
I could see
I don't-
5 years.
if he gets a 10-year, that would be crazy. I think like 8 years, 37 to 38 a year is what I would see. But I think he wants it to be 300 plus. So
I see 6 years.
no, it has to be more.
7 years. Oh, we'll see.
Here, I did the math.
They're not going to
8
sign
years.
him until he's 40 years old. There's
Well,
way.
no, 8 years, 37 and a half is 300.
Okay.
So, and that would take him to 39. So I feel like maybe it goes like 8 year, 40 a year, which would be what, 320? So, yeah, it would be 320.
Yes.
I mean, there's no shot they sign him to a 10-year, do you think? Where he's 41? No. I can't see it.
They're doing that with Miguel, aren't they? Did they do that with Miguel Cabrera?
Yeah,
But look how
but
they're getting bit, right? So that's what we were talking about earlier with the smaller contracts. Like it seems like it's a win-win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see 8 years, 40.
I think 8 years.
But then Scherzer's getting paid more.
I think he wants to be. He doesn't care as much about that. No one's gonna match that. No one's gonna pay him 44 a year, and he set his price at 36 annually. When the Yankees offered him at the beginning of the year, 7 years, 213, he set a price of no. I want to get paid 36 a year. So
very specific number.
Well, because he knew Trout's was 35.5. He wanted to be the
highest.
what
a fucker.
Yeah, he wanted to be the highest.
What a fucker. That's what I was just saying,
he
bro.
wants to be the highest. So I think 8 years, maybe 40 a year.
Playing a Little League ballpark.
But,
I want to get 36.
8 years, 37.5 is what I think is the minimum. Because I think whatever contract, it's going to be 300. Let's see. We already went over who we think is going to sign him. Okay, do you think it's going to be a straight-up bidding war between the teams that are really going to pursue him?
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to a bidding war, you always have to watch out for the last-second Dodgers, man. You never know. They're like, oh, you're getting 38, we'll give you 70. Or something crazy. Yeah, it's going to be a bidding war, dude. It's going to be contenders. He's not going to go to a non-contender. He wants to be in the postseason.
Yeah.
Despite him sucking in the postseason. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I want to talk about the Red Sox. The Red Sox are one of those teams, right? But they've already been open about trying to empty the kitchen sink to get Bogarts and Devers back, which they should have done mid-season.
Well, but they let Bogarts opt out. They didn't extend him, so he's a free agent right now.
Yeah, but they're trying to sign. He wants more money than what he was going to get. Okay. He's a top 5 shortstop.
You think they're going to make that a priority? I think they're going to make Devers a priority.
For sure.
Over Bogarts.
For sure, but who do they have? They have a couple young guys. They drafted...
How old is Bogarts?
27, 26.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, he's young.
Okay.
But they drafted... I'm blanking on his name, but the California kid, he was a projected number 1 overall. They got him at 5 2 drafts ago. So they have a couple guys going up, and they have Nick York, who's from Cali, who was the minor league offensive player of the year his first year at the age of 19, playing second base. Yeah. So they have a young base coming up, but I don't see them letting Bogarts go. And so I don't think that they're going to be in contention for Judge, honestly. Okay. I think it's going to be Mets, San Francisco, and then maybe a couple small market teams, bro. Maybe the Rangers go after him.
What do you think the Cubs have a shot? Okay, the Rangers not going after. They spent $500 million on Corey.
Hey, man.
Dude, Rangers are going after nothing but pitching.
They already got it, bro. They got the top 3 pitchers from the last 2 drafts.
Okay, so you brought this up, so we were going to get into
They drafted the high school kid and paid him $8 mil or $6 mil.
Yeah, but they're in win now mode because they spent that kind of cash this past season.
Yeah, they're in win now mode. Exactly, so they signed Judge.
No, they need pitching, bro.
They have pitching. They're gonna Leiter's
dude. They were 13th in AL ERA.
Dude, Rocker will be up next year. He already played.
We have Rocker.
Yes, we drafted
him. Guy? I forgot.
Yes, we drafted him.
I forgot.
We drafted him out of the blue, 4th overall this year.
We managed to get
Rocker, Leiter, and then the number 1 draft pick from this year. So the top 2 from 2 years ago.
We were the number 1 pick this year?
No, but we got
number 1 projected?
We got
What do you mean number 1?
We got the number 1 pitching prospect in this year's draft in the 4th round.
Oh, really? Why did he fall? I didn't follow the draft.
I can't remember exactly why he fell, but we got him for $6 mil in the 4th round.
Wow. Okay.
Because of something to do
now,
with
Leiter hasn't performed well in minors, is that correct?
Yeah, he had a 5-something ERA, but that's also because he's a mostly fastball slider guy. Mm-hmm. A little bit of command, first year.
Sure.
But Rocker's much more polished, right? He was much more polished in college. He also had the extra year of pro ball.
Sure.
He's bigger. He's been a little shaky. He kind of changed the mechanics a little bit, and he's been wild a little bit. But from inside sources, someone who had faced both of them in college, Rocker was a far superior pitcher. So we got him.
But you say, they're drafting these guys, they're win now mode, but okay, your guys in your farm system is not win now. That's 2-3 years down the line because you're not expecting them to come in the league a year after being in the farm system and then lighting it up as a rookie. So
yeah,
the Rangers, and they just signed Bochy, who no one saw that coming.
Yeah.
And you don't do that unless you're trying to win this season.
Yeah, but Leiter and Rocker are going to be up in the next, if
2
not
years.
next year, 2 years from now.
I know, but again, Bochy's on a 3-year contract.
Yeah. Well, did you hear what Bochy said in the
No.
press conference? He
No.
said, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't fully invested. And I didn't think that they had something special. So, not to mention they got Josh Young that just came up. He struggled early, but then he came alive.
But
He
again,
came later with that.
Angels, Rockies, hitting is not going to win games.
Rockies.
Pitching. What I'm saying,
Angels have no hitting.
I'm saying the Angels used to have. They had Pujols, Trout. They had all these guys. I'm saying all the teams that always have killer lineups, but then have no starting pitching. They don't win games, and they already spent all this money on Seager and Semien. They have to go get. I feel like DeGrom. I feel like is they're going to go after him really hard. I feel like they have to. Them and then Carlos Rodon is the other guy that they said they want to go after.
Do you think they go after Michael Fulmer?
They're going to go after someone for the pen. They're going to try. They're going to try to get someone because we don't have a closer, right?
Yeah, I can see them trying to get Montero as well. Oh well,
Yeah.
look, they signed Jose Leclerc, who has been nothing but a bag of cat shit for like 3 years from now. He's supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
I log on to MLB The Show. He's a diamond. I'm like, who is this guy? 10 ERA. So I don't know, man.
Okay, so I brought up DeGrom. Okay. First of all, do you think he's going to top Scherzer's contract of $43 annually?
Gosh, dude, like
I feel like he's gonna
so
want it.
good, bro. But
He can't
He's
stay healthy.
healthy.
Yeah, he can't.
Be healthy,
I don't.
bro. He's a tooth.
I feel like someone's gonna like do it not wanting to, but that's the only way they're gonna get him. And someone's gonna pay that price tag. And I think they'll weigh that. Okay, it's worth it because it's a short term deal and it's not. We're not weighing 10 years and potentially down the line because he's already 35. I didn't realize he was that old already. I didn't realize he's been in the league that long.
Remember long hair DeGrom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember he'd been in the league that long. He opted out of a $32.5 million guarantee for this next year. So, again, I want to answer. Do you think he's going to top Scherzer's?
Yeah, I think he'll get like 3 years, 150.
No, it won't be that high.
No,
It won't be
or
50 a year.
Yeah.
It'll be 45 max a year. 45 max a year. That'd be 135.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if the Mets don't sign him, the fan base will be upset early, but I think they'll be better in the long run. I think whoever signs him, they're gonna have to bite the bullet. And
Who do
try
you
to
think? Who do you think? Do you have a team who you think will and who
The
you
Braves.
think should? Braves.
The Mets openly said that they think the Braves are the biggest contender for DeGrom.
Okay.
They have so much money. I feel like they have so much money saved up because they sign all their young guys to like these ridiculously low contracts, and I think that they could actually like go out and spend some money on DeGrom.
I gotcha. Okay. So I'm gonna go through some of these free agents, and then if I'm forgetting some are left off, just bring them up. Okay, Trey Turner. He's probably the top position guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than Judge. Take away Judge. Trey. What do you think the offseason looks like for him?
Look, he's a top 5 shortstop. He's been an MVP contender for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's young.
Yeah.
He's young, dude. I see him signing a Semien.
Oh, he's 30.
He's 30 years
He's
old?
30.
Wow. Oh, that's right, because he went to NC State. Okay. I don't know. I see him signing a Semien type deal. 7 years,
Oh, yeah.
150. But I think
he's getting 300.
you think 300.
Trey will get 300. Yeah.
So
I
you're
think
getting
he'll
10
get
years?
8 years.
Really, dude?
He's 30. Someone will sign him for the rest of his I think 8 or 9 years. 33 a year. That'd be right about 300. I think he'll get right at about 300, maybe 280. But
Right.
dude, he's not signing for less than 30 a year.
You think?
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I see him going. He has to go to a contender. I mean, he's been on a
Yeah.
contender for the last couple of years. He's not going to go to some.
I'm not really sure who the favorites are to sign him.
Dude, low key, I think the Mariners are going to get him.
Really?
Seems like his kind of market. He fits their offense. They need. I mean, J.P. Crawford's good.
So you don't think the Dodgers are going to try to sign him again?
I think they could, but they still have Gavin Lux, and if they have Mookie Betts, then they can just slide over, and then they'll have money to spare for someone like.
Well, I think if the Dodgers aren't going to get Judge, I don't know why you wouldn't sign him back. I think you would only let him go if you're serious about trying to get Judge. No. I mean, because you're not going to get a better shortstop.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on what they think that their priorities are. They're going to be stacked either way. But this past season, it felt like they had a lot of like role player type players stepping up because they were all so hurt. So yeah, I could see them signing him, but I don't think they have room for 300.
Well, if they're a contender for Judge, they got room for him.
Well, I think it's him or Judge is what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if they're, I think they let him go if they're serious about trying to get Judge. If they're not, then I think they sign him again. Is what I'm saying. I think it's one or the other. But I think depending on what they do with him will show what they do with Judge.
Fair enough.
Because I think Judge is gonna let this play out. I don't think it's gonna be, unless someone just comes out of the gate and offers him some crazy contract that no one is gonna, then he'll take it. But I feel like it's gonna be a little bit of a bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Carlos Correa is the next one. So he opted out. So he only signed, it was a 3-year deal, I think.
Yeah.
But with opt-outs after each year. So
Yeah.
he opts out after the first year.
Hey,
Didn't he have a kind of a down year?
No, he had a really good year this year.
Really? I thought he or maybe it was defensively he didn't do as well or something. But what do you think
Look, man, when Carlos Correa goes to Dior and he sees something he likes, he buys it. Okay.
Okay. Are you going somewhere with that?
Are you not familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, after the season, they're in the off season, and like he was definitely gonna opt out. And they're like, "Are you gonna see yourself back here on the Twins?" And he was like, "Look, man, when I go to Dior and I see something I like, I buy it. I'm the product here. The Twins want me. They're gonna have to pay me."
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, let me continue my train of thought.
Okay.
I don't think Carlos Correa gives a frick about winning. Honestly, he already won.
You sure? Yeah.
He already won with Houston. I think he wants money.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna want to go to a younger, a more analytically based team. He's super big into analytics. I don't know if you saw, he was all over like Quick Pitch or whatever, the talk shows, and he was talking about all the analytics. And he's like a super. But that's why I feel like the Cubs are such a perfect fit for him. They have so much young talent, and they have a young manager in Rossi.
Sure.
So I really think that a team with a young talent base is going to want to sign him and lock him up to help mentor the guys in the future. So I really think the Cubs are a good pick. Dude, maybe even the Mariners. Mariners are going to look for a shortstop this past. Because J.P. Crawford's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right, but to take the next step, they need a better shortstop.
Do you think he gets like a 10-year deal?
No. I think he's a
like 7 or 8
Bauer type. I think he's getting
No.
5. I think he's getting 5 with an opt-out after 3 for 200.
No way. I think
180.
No, he already signed the short deal and he opted out. That's why I think he's going to go for the long deal this time.
Maybe. I don't think he signs for 10. He might sign for 7 or 8 years.
I think he's going to try to look to sign somewhere where he finishes his career.
I know he wants 300. I know he wants 300.
Yeah. Fucking everyone wants 300 now.
Yeah, ever since Harper and Machado.
Yeah.
Which Machado's deal is starting to look good, but at the time I was like,
Yeah. All right. We already talked about Bogarts a little bit, so let's go on to Justin Verlander. He's 40, but he's still
trash.
Well, he's most likely going to win Cy Young. I mean, do you think Houston signs him again to like a 1 or 2 year deal?
Yeah, I don't think Houston lets him go.
I don't know why he would want to leave. I mean, you're in the last couple of years of your career. Why would you not want to stay with the team that is the favorite? I mean, that just won the World Series and is probably going to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, the next year to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he finishes his career with Houston. I think he signs like a 2-year.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say 3
60
years.
million.
I'm gonna say 3 years 70. 3 years 75. something around those lines.
Really?
But yeah,
3 years, that'd be 43. I think 2 years.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, he just pitched the best he ever has this regular season.
I know, but I don't know. When you're that age, I feel like the risk of injury is very high. Just all the wear and tear of your full career. I don't know. I feel like 2 years, maybe 30 a year. I think like 2 years, 60.
Yeah, it'll be a short
like
deal.
that.
I don't see him leaving Houston as well.
No. All right, Swanson. He's one of the other shortstops. He's 29. Do you think the Braves re-sign him?
Swanson's one of those guys where, like, he was number 1 overall pick. Diamondbacks traded into the Braves. He's progressively gotten better every year. After his second or third year in the league, made a massive swing change, made his bat way more vertical, started fouling off more pitches instead of weak contact, and then started driving the ball more. But he was a back end bat for the Braves, right? 7, 8, 9. Was he not?
At one point he was. I don't know. He's kind of moved around in the lineup based on just because he's kind of a streaky guy.
I don't think he's irreplaceable. He's good on defense. He's really good on defense. I don't think he's irreplaceable, especially in the Braves organization. I know they have a really good AAA shortstop. Dude, I don't know. Dansby Swanson might be on the move.
Let's see. All right, let's go to Kershaw. I thought he was older. He's only 35. So he actually fell off pretty early in his career. I mean, everything I always hear that says the only way he would leave LA is to go to the Rangers to pitch near his hometown. I feel like if the Rangers have to be a competitor for him to go there, I think. He's not going to go to some team that can't compete. Now, again, like we were just talking about not that long ago, the Rangers are kind of showing everyone that they're ready to compete now. But I think that they have to make one major move this offseason to kind of get his attention to potentially convince him to go there.
And he openly said the reason that he didn't sign with the Rangers because he wanted to be in contention.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. But he's kind of the piece that the Rangers need, right? They need pitching in order to be contenders.
But is he an ace anymore?
No.
He's number 2.
No, yeah.
So I feel like the Rangers have to go get an ace and say, hey, look, we did this. Okay, you can be the number 2 guy.
Yeah, I can see Rodon, Kershaw being a part of the Rangers rotation.
Yeah. What kind of contract do you think he signs? Like a 2-year, 3-year? Did he sign a 1-year, 30-something this past year with the Dodgers?
And he didn't have a bad season at all.
No. Now, how many games did he miss with injury? I know he missed a decent amount.
Maybe 7 or 8 starts.
Okay. He's another guy that just has injury problems and that he just can't seem to shake. Well, what do you think? I mean, if you had to put a number on it, what do you think the likelihood that he ends up, or that he leaves LA?
50-50, man.
You think it's 50-50, really?
It's 50-50. I mean, why else would you sign a 1-year deal?
I think it was because he had a couple down years in a row, and I think that was more the Dodgers than it was him. No?
Okay.
I feel like it was because he had a couple down years. His velocity was significantly down. Now he sits at like 90, right?
Yeah, but he's still an all-star this year, right? So he's still an all-star.
Yeah.
He's going to have higher leverage. I don't see the Dodgers paying him more than what they paid him this year. So I think, unless he wants to move, I think he's going to get paid significantly less. Like 22, 23 a year instead of 30.
All right, what do you think about Wilson Contreras? I feel like the Cubs have to re-sign him. I feel like if they weren't, they would have dealt him at the deadline. So I feel like there's no chance that he leaves because the Cubs will look like idiots if he signs somewhere else, having got nothing for him.
Wilson Contreras is like the heart and soul of that team, dude. That dude is electric. Do you see? I mean, I don't know if you watch very many Cubs games, but man, that dude wants to be in Chicago. First of all, let me say that he wants to be in Chicago. Ian Happ wants to be in Chicago. I don't know, dude. As a Cubs front office, you watch that guy play and be that connected to the city. I don't see there's any way you don't re-sign him. He's the best catcher. In my opinion, he's the best catcher in the MLB. Better than JT, better than all those other scrubs, bro. He can hit, and he has the best arm. No one runs on him.
Yeah.
There's no way you let him go. There's no way.
I don't
if you
think
don't
so.
sign him. Or if you didn't trade him, there's no way you let him go.
Yeah. All right. If any more guys come to mind, you can bring them up, but I'm not going to go through all these guys. But Rizzo's the last one we'll talk about.
Reunion with the Cubs, baby.
He's not. Honestly, I don't know. I don't understand why the Cubs let him go. He just seemed like the type of guy that you would want to be the face of your franchise, and he just seemed like a guy that would be in Chicago forever and finish his career there, and a guy that you would want to do that as a franchise, that you would want to make this guy be a career, lifelong Cub. And I think of all the World Series guys that the Cubs traded away, that he was probably the one that upset the fans the most, because I don't know. I was very confused when they traded him, but I don't think there's any way he goes back to the Yankees. The fact that he opted out, no, he doesn't want to go back to the Yankees. Do you think there's a real? I have no idea if there's any landing spots that people are expecting him to go, but do you think Chicago's potentially he could return there?
I think Chicago's definitely a piece of the puzzle. I see him, dude. I see it similar to the Judge, like Chicago or San Francisco.
Oh, really?
But look, the Cubs are looking to compete, right? They have one of the best records. They had the best record in the MLB against above 500 teams. They have a lot of potential. They got Christopher Morel, who struggled a little bit, but he, for the most part, was at the top of the order for them, doing really well. I think they could sign him. And if they sign him, because, dude, Frank the Tank is not getting it done. Not getting it done, man. I think they could sign him, and then if they sign him and Rizzo, all of a sudden they're contenders.
Sure.
Or maybe a pitcher.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, I could see Rodon going to the Cubs as well.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Or Fulmer seems like that guy.
You got any more free agents or anyone you want to talk about? That was... Okay, would you want to talk about some of the top trade candidates, potentially, of guys that could be traded?
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Let's see. Let's talk about a few. So let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through here. Okay, well, we talked about Rafael Devers. They're going to sign him. There's no way they trade him, right? He's the face of the franchise. He's who they want to build around going forward, right?
Yeah,
so,
Rafi two scoops, baby.
Yeah, no way they trade him away. Danny Jansen on the Blue Jays. Do you think he's a piece that guys are going to go after for a catcher?
Who?
Danny Jansen.
He helped himself out big time. He had a really good season this year, but he will not. I don't think there's any way that he stays with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays had 4 potential viable options at catcher. They had Danny Jansen, they had Reese McGuire, they had Gabriel Morel, I believe, or Marino, and then Zach Collins as well, 2 young guys. I don't know what kind of haul they can get for him, though. I don't think they're going to get very much. A couple prospects, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't see him being on the Blue Jays. They're just overloaded at catcher.
So you think they'll deal him? Okay. How about Shane Bieber on the Guardians?
No, they're signing him, dude. They're signing him.
Well,
the Guardians have so much young potential.
So you think they're going to give him an extension?
Yeah.
Because
he's going to have a nice payday.
He's 2 years away from free agency. So you think they're going to hold on to him and then sign him to an extension?
Yeah.
Let's see. Rhys Hoskins. Do you think the Phillies deal him?
Dude, that's a tough one. I don't know, man. Look,
they need pitching.
They do need
that's
pitching.
Their glaring hole. So
he didn't really have a great year.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like his whole career they've been waiting for him to kind of be the guy they want him to be.
Yeah.
And he's just been super streaky. They could definitely get a couple arms from him. But honestly, I don't see them trading him in the offseason. I can see him being a trade deadline piece, but I don't think so in the offseason.
I gotcha.
Especially after the run that they just had.
And then some Yankee guys, Gleyber Torres and IFK. Do you think those are guys that the Yankees would want to trade?
Yeah, IKF, sir.
What I say, IFK?
IFK.
IKF, my bad.
Yeah, the Yankees got 2 really good prospects at shortstop coming up. IKF, he's like a nice like role player. Like he can play defense. He didn't play defense that well this year. He can hit. Doesn't hit for much power, but he can hit for sure. But I don't think that he is the guy that the Yankees want, especially in that ballpark. And I mean, look, they're gonna need pitching out of the bullpen. They got a lot of guys leaving. A lot of guys hurt at the end of the year. So I do think that they're gonna trade him in a package deal. Maybe try to get. I can see him and Donaldson on the move, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah, because Donaldson at 220 this year.
Right.
So,
but do you think someone would want to take on his contract? It's 4-year, 92 or 96 million.
Yeah, that's nothing ridiculous, dude.
I think he only has 1 or maybe 2 more years on that deal.
Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of, that could also make him a trade deadline piece.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think IKF's gonna play another season with the Yankees.
I gotcha. Okay, that's just a few of the potential trade candidates we'll talk about. Do you have anything? Or I'll ask you one more thing. Who do you think is maybe a sneaky team to watch in the offseason for a team that could make some moves and maybe could be a surprise contender next year?
Sneaky, right? Oh, the Twins.
Really?
Yeah, the Twins had a lot of talent this past year. They did not play well. But look, they were on the better end of the trade with Josh Donaldson, right? Gio Urshela was better in every single category. They traded for that Jorge Lopez, who was having a career year. And they always seem like they just reload with talent.
Mm-hmm.
It never seems like they have a great offseason, but it always seems like they get just the right pieces to have a good season. They're not going to re-sign Correa, but I do see them signing. Dude, IKF could end up there, right? They originally traded for him, and then they just flipped him.
Mm-hmm.
But I see them getting a couple small like role player types and just reloading and trying to be competitive again next season. A couple of those pitchers for sure. That Fulmer seems like he could re-sign with the Twins. There's a couple of other guys out there that could re-sign. But yeah, I think the Twins are someone to watch.
Okay. All right. That's all I got on here. Do you want to cover anything else? The tweet stuff, we'll push that off for.
Yeah, we'll push out everything else. Yeah, I'll run my segments later.
Yeah, we'll figure out how we want to do that in the future.
Cool.
All right, so good for tonight?
Yeah. Go put a hat on, bro.
Stop looking at my fucking hair.
Dude, what the hell is that?
Stop. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone.